Good evening and welcome to it. This is the Private Property Podcast, where we provide you with valuable knowledge and information on all things property related. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or you're just looking for some expert advice, we have got you covered. All you have to do is tune in every Tuesday and every Thursday at 7 p.m. We will give you tips, insights, and expert advice on all burning topics related to property, because this podcast is brought to you proudly by Private Property. Remember, you can find your new home on privateproperty.co.za. On tonight's episode, we'll be exploring the ever-changing landscape of the South African property market. Joining us in studio for this very interesting discussion is our resident property guru, Trujic Constanti from Harcourts. But before we dive into the conversation, please remember to comment below and share your thoughts about today's show. You can join the conversation by using hashtag find your new home on privateproperty.co.za and hashtag the Private Property Podcast on all social media. We'll be keeping an eye out for your posts, and we may even feature some of your comments on the show. Remember, this is the Private Property Podcast, and we provide you with all of the valuable information that you need on all things property related. Like I said, I'm not alone in studio. I am joined by Trujic Constanti. How are you?
Good, Sibs. How are you?
I'm all right, but my belt is tight and as tight as can possibly be. And I want to ask you, as a property practitioner, how is everyone in your industry coping since the repo rate did what it did?
Okay, yes. So the last interest rate hike was a little bit scary because it was double what we thought it would be. But we are coping. We're still selling. We're still working. We're still busy. Yes.
So everyone is still buying houses. It's business as usual.
Well, maybe not as usual, but there's definitely business.
So I need to ask you, are you seeing big changes in the market? Are homes staying on the market for longer? Are sellers reconsidering maybe selling right now because they might not get the best price for their homes? What's the biggest trend you've seen now in 2023?
So the homes that are overpriced or not realistically priced for this current market, they're definitely staying on the market for longer. If the sellers are not in a rush to sell, then there are a few sellers who have decided to wait because it's not something they need to do right now. But the sellers that do need to sell, they've realized they're not going to sell at the price they thought they would. So the gap is closing between the buyers and the sellers.
What is the main driver? You say people that really need to sell. What is the main driver of people who really need to sell?
Well, it could be finances. So maybe because of the hikes and everything, the people can't afford their bond repayments anymore. So that's one reason. I have a couple of clients immigrating. So it was a must for them, just to have it off their shoulders and not worry about getting tenants or anything like that. Sometimes they need to use that money to go overseas with. So, yeah.
So would you say that the market is slow? Like, how does it affect the average property practitioner?
It is definitely slower in terms of viewing. So inquiries I'm finding are less on property. Before you'd list a property and a flood of inquiries would come through. Now it's definitely less people inquiring, but there are a lot of properties on the market. So buyers have a lot of choice at the moment.
Oh, I suppose. Hey, because now if everything is kind of more affordable and people are moving abroad and need the money to move,
yes,
you can sort of shop around a bit.
Definitely.
If you're one of the people who still has money left.
Yes, exactly. It's definitely a buyer's market, and the people that do have money left to buy, they're in a good position at the moment.
Lucky them.
Yeah.
Do you think that potential buyers are re-evaluating their affordability, right? Because now you look at what happened and now it was 50 basis points instead of the 25 that everyone thought it was going to be. You thought your affordability was this much and now it might not be the case anymore. Or you've been approved, maybe if you've done a bond calculation or whatever, you've been approved for so much. And now you see how unpredictable things can be or how you can be really put in a really, really tight spot. So are people going, you know what, I could do a 2 mil, but I think I'm going to bring it down to like a 1.5 in case anything hectic happens like is happening now?
Yeah, most definitely. So that is definitely happening. People are reevaluating how much they're going to buy for. The other thing is even if somebody wasn't reevaluating it, the bank would reevaluate them. So if someone was approved for 2 million a month ago, they're going to have to requalify themselves now to see if they are still approved for that amount.
So if you didn't take up that 2 mil then when they offered it to you, you're going to be in a different situation now.
Well, it will depend on the person's finances and things, but yes, possibly it would be different.
And you think that's a good thing, just to reevaluate where you stand financially and just see, like, looking into the future, will you be able to do this?
Most definitely, because if you max yourself out and things carry on going the way they have, hopefully they won't, you're just going to find yourself in trouble in the near future. So it's definitely good to reevaluate things.
Okay, so as someone who deals with, this on a day-to-day basis, this is your daily job, and you deal with the people sending in the inquiries and looking at the different houses and all of the different options that they do have, is it all doom and gloom, would you say?
No, not at all. So people are always going to need houses. So regardless of interest rates, I mean, people were buying houses when interest rates were 24%. So the market is there. It's different. We just have to all adjust. And as I mentioned earlier, for buyers that can afford it, it's a really great time to buy for them, because the sellers have realized they're not getting the prices that they wanted. So it's a good opportunity for buyers to get property at a really good price. The other thing is, I think we've reached our peak in terms of the interest rate hikes. I hope so. That's what they say. That's what they say. So if somebody is buying now, this likely is their max for a while. So if things change, they will hopefully go lower and they'll actually have more disposable income instead of everyone that's bought previously at a lower interest rate that's gone up.
Got you. I see what you mean. At the start of 2023, we were starting to see levels in the industry going back to sort of pre-COVID times. But the recent increase and the possibility of another one in the near future, because there will be an announcement in a few months again, that things are changing. So what is your prediction for the rest of 2023 and perhaps even the first quarter of 2024?
So look, I think 2023 is going to be a little bit rough, and we're just going to have to ride through the storm together. But I think I believe 2024 will be better, and that things will change for the better.
I feel like that's what everyone was thinking about 2023, right? And then
not really, because things were still really good a big first half of 2022. So we started noticing a change after July 2022. I think a lot of people did know it was going to be a rough year this year.
Cautiously optimistic about next year being a better year.
Definitely.
But also, if you have the funds now,
Yes, I think it's a really good time to buy now if you have the funds.
The possibilities are endless.
Yes.
Okay, with load shedding, the high crime rate, and now the interest rate hike, is there any good news for homeowners, first-time buyers and property practitioners in the near future? If yes, what is the silver lining?
Well, I think the silver lining will be, in terms of property practitioners, the people that ride it out. So yes, some people will fall off because they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And the rest of us will just put our head down and work, as we always do, and make it out on the other side and be ready for when the market does shift to take full advantage of it.
Yeah.
In terms of load shedding, people are sorting themselves out. Everybody I speak to, when I speak with buyers, they already have plans on what they're going to put in and how much money they need for that. So it's become a reality, and we've accepted it, and we're just making a plan. We're resilient as South Africans, very. So we just accept things and move on. I am not negative about South Africa. I think every country has its challenges, and I think we should still be grateful to be here.
The grass is not always greener on the other side.
Definitely not.
In fact, our grass is quite green compared to other places.
Yes, definitely. We've got our challenges, but so does everybody else.
I love that. I too am optimistic about South Africa.
Good.
And that is where I'll leave it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always so good to have you in studio.
Thank you. Always nice to see you.
We will see you again soon, especially if anything happens with the interest rate hike.
Yes. Hopefully I'll come with a
Good news.
Yes,
Come
yes.
bearing good news.
Yes.
And then we can talk about all of the houses we can
Definitely.
now afford to buy.
Yes.
In the meantime, that's all we have for you. My name is Sibs Maleba Matiela. This is the Private Property Podcast, and I will see you on the next episode.